Good morning, everyone. I'm really thrilled you're joining us today because we're sitting down with the expert minds behind Madison Reed, the next generation of home hair coloring. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Amy and Sabrina.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we start out with you guys just explaining the multifaceted solution Madison Reed provides?
Sure, I'll take a shot, and then Sabrina, feel free to. So about 2 years ago, we kind of set forth on a journey to figure out how we could do a couple of things to service the 89 million women in the U.S. that color their hair with frequency, let's say. And the first thing that we were really focused on was, could we create a product that was easier to use and better for you? And so one of the big things that's really different about what we've done is we've taken out the harsh chemicals within Madison Reed. And in addition, we've created an experience that's much easier to use, primarily around the componentry that we give you. And in addition to that, using technology to enable you to learn how to color your hair yourself or do it better or color match you. And we've kind of put that all together in this really beautiful, affordable luxury box. And we're appealing to women that have done it at home forever. We're appealing to women that have never colored their hair. And we're appealing to women that have gone to a salon and spent a lot of money and now are feeling empowered because they're able to do it themselves with a product that they feel good about because of the way that we've actually formulated the product, handcrafted in Italy.
And you literally have everything in the box. I could not believe you guys thought of every thought of the process.
Yeah, one thing I would add into that too is that we're also seeing with the Better For You formula, lots of women who had sort of left the hair coloring process altogether because they just felt like they either couldn't for allergy reasons or something else use hair color, or they just didn't want to. And we're seeing more and more women find out about us and give us a try and be really delighted to be able to do it again. And it really makes them feel differently. It's surprising kind of the number of stories that we hear about how it's really made them feel empowered again.
That's great. And Amy, you named it after your daughter, right?
Yes.
Great.
I named it. I actually didn't pick the name, so if I'm really honest, my co-founders forced me to pick it. I was smart enough to realize that, you know, the pressure of an entrepreneur is great enough, but then if your company's named after the absolute horrifying moment where if it didn't work that I would psychologically damage her, it seemed like it was not a good setup, but I succumbed to the pressure. So that is her first and middle name.
That's great.
Much greater success than Jobs' Lisa.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so now you both have extensive experience in the consumer marketplaces, and both are advisors, VCs. So how do those life lessons inform your roles as founders?
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So for me, there's two things. One is really creating an emotional connection with our customer or our client, and connecting in a really authentic way and making it be really all about the customer experience. That's something that I've been passionate about for a long time. And I've done it in various stages, from scratch and going in the middle of something. But I have to say that creating something from scratch is just a tremendous opportunity, particularly when you get to do something that's providing a truly better experience for someone. And a healthier one. The other place is in digital technologies, social media, the sort of social proof and customer storytelling that I think is so prevalent in the marketplace today, and so important for companies as they scale to really get that right.
So yeah, some of the same things. I think that, you know, my journey, Sabrina and I, this isn't our first time together, so we've worked together in the past, and that's kind of relevant to the couple things that I'd add. You know, my journey, this is my fourth startup. In between number 3 and 4, I was a VC and opened and ran an office of a large and established venture firm who was Seattle focused, and I opened a Bay Area office and did 5 years of consumer technology investing. And I think that taught me a whole bunch of things, but I think the greatest thing that it taught me was that I have deep and enduring respect for entrepreneurs. That, you know, there is an honor to both be doing it and be given the opportunity to now do it the fourth time, and certainly the second time with Sarbina. Plus, when I was a VC, I backed her. So in some ways, the third time, although when I backed her, that was easier. I just gave her money and said, go do this, and she did that. So that was a little bit easier. You know, this notion of when I was a VC, one of the things that was really clear was like there was a longing, there was a desire inside of me. It sort of validated that I love entrepreneurs and I love advising them and I love mentoring them and giving them the means to succeed. I also love being one. And I think that for me, what was the most compelling thing in my own journey is what is it that why do people have this strange sort of almost, you know, crazy affliction, as I call it? You know, when I told my partner that I was going to go back and do this, I'll leave out the language that I wouldn't want to say on your show, but it was sort of like, really? And I think that, are you kidding? I think it's just something that's in your bloodstream, right? And so I think if you can take that and harness it and sort of understand that passion, really, that's what it is. And we've fallen in love with our, you know, company, with people that work here, with our customers, with everything that we stand for, emotional brand, is that if you can harness that passion as an entrepreneur in every single thing that you do, you've increased the probability that you will, you know, put yourself, as I call it, somewhere around the hoop to get lucky that it'll be a big company. And I think that, you know, for me, the longing to build a team and to build an iconic, lasting, sustainable brand that will go on well beyond Sarbina and I ever being here, that will always do the right thing for the customer and put that ahead of making money, always pick the best ingredients that are better for people. That kind of marriage of a social mission with something you're passionate about in a business that's a big space, I just can't imagine doing anything that's more satisfying than that. So, you know, for me, it's been, you know, this journey has been great. I think, you know, when you do it, when you're a tiny bit older, you have a different perspective, which we try to tell people here all the time. We have a lot of much younger people that work here, which is sort of like the highs are higher and the lows are lower, and buckle in because we haven't seen anything yet. And, you know, all the things we think are a hassle or hard or difficult now will become tomorrow's not so difficult because it'll become difficult. So I think, as I'd say, having the long run as a perspective, I think this notion, last thing I'll say is I think the notion of you start a company and in 18 months you have a big outcome and, you know, it's all so easy and it's 1, 2, 3. I think that when you have people in a leadership perspective like Sarbina and myself and another co-founder, Eric Hutchinson, you start to understand that you know, most venture-backed companies take 8 to 9 or 10 years to have an outcome. And so you don't make short-term decisions. You do things that you think are, in the long run, building the most value for your customer and in a consumer-facing business for your business from your responsibility of building a sustainable company. And I think that's just a different way to think about things. I'm not going to sweat any details about November, December, January. I'm going to sweat the details of what's right for the company. And if it takes a longer time to build it, we're going to build it brick by brick the right way.
You say that, Amy, it really lends. I wanted to selfishly ask both of you because as I was learning more about your journeys and the roles that you felt just now, you shared how much you've learned about building a company. What's your best advice to a 20-something on achieving this kind of success and being okay with, like you said, looking at the long term? Because it's hard sometimes, having just gotten out of school, I want to see the results right away because it's validation that what I'm doing is working.
So I think it's the advice that I give you is results come in so many different ways. Like we do this thing at our company that I started, you know, a month ago. We've built a very, very robust and sort of caring culture that we talk about, which is we're here to manage people, lead people from love, not fear. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the underlying premise of the company's culture. And so what I'm going to say next is really in that category, which is like, What we do in the company is every day I ask people to email me successes. They could be as small as somebody opened the door for me today and held it open, to, you know, it was the highest sales day ever, you know, to we had 5 customers that said this product changed their life, right? It could be all over the spectrum, and I publish them every night. And so why is that important? Because when you get out of school, if what you believe, actually put school aside. If you live your life, this is my belief, so this is, you know, just my craziness. If you live your life believing that the outcomes are these big carrots, right? Your company goes public for $1 billion, you get a certain amount of money, you buy a bigger house, you blah, blah, blah. Success in life, what I've learned, is really paying attention and being present for every moment.
It's about the journey. It's
about the journey. And so when you come out of school, if what you're measured yourself against is I'm 26 and I haven't had an outcome that made me a billionaire, wow, you're going to have a long road ahead of you that is going to be filled with a lot of how do you top this? And I think the meaning of life, that if you can kind of connect the dots about how a business runs, it's really the same, right? In the perspective of what is success in a company? Is it just the outcome, or is it thrilling your customers along the way? You know, creating an opportunity for people to have professional and personal growth in a place where they come to work every day and they can't wait to get up and come because their life is better. You know, we have people that are here that are, you know, certified colorists that are on our call center. These are people that have been standing on their feet for 5+ years, inhaling ammonia, coloring someone's hair in a salon. We have people come up to Sarbina and I every single day. I'm not exaggerating, saying this job changed my life.
Yeah. The other thing I would say too is that it's, you know, be patient with yourself if you can. I know that's really hard. That it's, if you're in your 20s, you are going to, even if you have an amazing outcome, it's not like you're going to stop. You're going to keep going. You're going to be doing something, whatever it is, for another 50, 60, you know, even longer years probably. So find what really is your passion. Amy talks about it in Finding Your Genius, which I think is really a beautiful way to say it. And, you know, that doesn't just come like this. That, like, it comes over time. And it's fluid, and especially in today's environment where things are changing all the time, we have no idea today what is even going to be like the next big thing even 5 years from now or less than that. Like, it's, you know, the rate of change is so quick. So to sort of feel like you need to figure it all out, just let go of that. Do the best you can, find what you're passionate at, and just bring that every day, and you'll get there.
All right, now I want to focus back on this leading with love versus fear. And I know that as a leader, I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. But no, that's a bad office quote, I'm sorry. Oh. But Amy, so you took on a leadership role and you were managing over 100 people when you were only 25. How do you learn to lead with love to change that department?
Well, you know, the first thing I'd say is, in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. One would argue that maybe I don't now either, but I'm more comfortable with that. So I think that my general disposition is to always lean into validating human beings. And I believe that what I learned was, as soon as I stopped talking and started listening, as soon as I developed meaningful relationships with every one of those 100 people and heard their struggles, their story, their, you know, what they loved about their job, what they hated about their job, it became really clear as a leader that there were clusters of things that were truth for them. And if I wanted to be in a position to make change happen, then I had to embrace their truth, and I had to validate that it was real for them. And then I had to figure out what we could do to change those things that made their life better. You know, there's this misconception that I just had this debate with somebody. It was fascinating. You know, there's this misconception that if you aren't tough with people, if you don't, you know, you don't make them scared, you know, you don't, you know, berate, you don't, you know, treat them in ways where, God damn it, you shouldn't be doing this, that, you know, they'll just walk all over you.